Today we have a couple of President Randy III's in for optimisation on UK FM channels. So we've covered this before, probably more than once, and we've set them up for 80 channel operation. We've set them up with the AM as well on CPT. Today they want 40 channels UK optimisation. And it's better, if you only want to use UK channels, it's better to optimise it for UK channels, because if you're optimising radios for 80 channels, it's still a compromise. So the best possible performance would be across a 40 channel set. So whether that's CPT, which doesn't work here, or whether it's the UK set of channels, that is the best course of action. Now, I'm not allowed to divulge anything that's in this service manual. It's company confidential, and I would be struck off as a dealer. So if you look at how we got into the service menu on the first time, I found my way into the menu. That's fine, but I can't tell you what the service manual says to get into that menu. So you'll need to look at the back catalogue for the President Randy III service to see how you get into the service menus. I know it's a bit cloak and dagger and all that, but you've got to do as you're told, haven't you? So we'll pop the aerial off and we'll put a TNC adapter in so we can access the test set. All I've got to do is to find my pot of adapters. So on battery, channel 20, we'll put picture in picture on. I'll go into the 3-watt scale. The manual says, I can show you that page. The manual says, shaken not stirred, that it's supposed to be 4 watts. Now it doesn't have a limit spec like you'd get with realistic manuals, and it will go up to 13.2 volts. So that's told everybody. I'll press transmit, and we have got 2.7 watts on battery. So what we'll now do is we'll connect up the vehicle adapter to 13.2 volts. Now some of these hand portables we've worked on recently, there's a difference between what comes out of the vehicle adapter socket and what comes out the top of the radio, and it's on a cigarette lighter plug, so we'll have to crocodile clip that. So now we are on 13.2 volts. We'll switch the radio on. And we'll press transmit again. So when we're on the vehicle adapter, nothing comes out of the top. So we'll connect that up there, see what comes out now. And it's 2.7 watts, it's exactly the same. Now the customer has asked me not to turn up the power. He wants the deviation optimizing, but I'm going to put a rider to this, and that is this. Let's see what the current consumption is. So it's 470 milliamps. I'm going to so on receive, there's nothing we can adjust on receive, but just for the record, and I'm going to make some notes. Just for the record, we'll see how well it's received, because these do work very well. They're the only modern hand portable that do more than 4 miles on their own aerial, so it's clearly down to a very well designed aerial, and there's no excuse for not having well designed aerials these days. So I've got 2779125 on the test set. I'm going to get a piece of paper and we'll write down. Oh, here's a reminder from RS Components to pay the bill. I better get these sets done, otherwise there won't be any money to pay the bill. I think I owe them. How much do I owe them? £32. Well, they'll be sending the boys round. Can I spot a pen on here? Of course I can't spot a pen on here. So you'll notice we still haven't done the on-the-air test for that Giessen base station I've been putting back together. I'm waiting for screws to come through the post. I'd like to put it together first rather than just do an on-the-air test with it in bits. So Randy III set number 1. I've only brought one of these in at a time, so when I've done this it'll go back on the shelf, so I know which is set 1 and set 2 in my own mind, even if the I might put a label on the aerial. Set number 1, let's go back to where we were with transmit. Now that's interesting. Why have we suddenly changed power? It's doing 3.4 watts and it's drawing 933 milliamps. So that doesn't want changing. So I wonder if it was it in a lower power mode? Yes, I would have pressed that. So low power is 2.6 watts. So that's high, that's low, 2.6 watts. At which point it draws 424 milliamps. So we won't be touching that because 3.5 watts is the ideal power output between range and current consumption. If you go to 4 watts, you're not going to get any more range. It'll be measured in feet. Once you get between this 2.5 to 3.5, you've got an optimum range on these type of hand portables. So, as he says, don't change it. But deviation, let's have a look where that is. Wallow. 1 2 1 2 1 2. Wallow. Wallow. It's 1.5. So deviation equals 1.5 kilohertz. There's some kind of bleep coming on. I wonder how you remove that. I know it's his radio, but it doesn't help us. I think he's got CTCSS activated, to be honest, and that's entirely his business. So deviation is 1.5. We need to alter that. So on receive, are we going to be able to receive it if he's got CTCSS? Because I'm not on a test set which CTCSS is easily doable on. It's going to have monitor, isn't it? It's now in monitor mode. I'll put the cyanide meter on. We'll show the cyanide meter. Aha! Need to access headphone socket. So we'll flick now back to the attenuator controls, and we've got 1 there, and we've got 3.8 there. 0.38 microvolts for 12 dB synod, which is superb. I'm going to unplug the speaker, and that's where that test ends. Now there's nothing we can do with receive, it all transmit. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this into the appropriate mode. And I'm sorry I can't show this, but I say if you look at the previous video, I discovered how to do it, and that's fine, you can look at that. So we are in, let's look where this is. We're in power mid, and it's 0.6 is its current setting. So press transmit. And it's 3.4 watts as we just go back to that. So we need to go up one, power low is 0.7. Let's just see what that's doing, and it's doing 2.5 watts as we've done. Now we need to go to deviation, and this is where we do need to alter it. So they call it FM mod, which is not really the right term, is 0.9. So I need to get our little oscillator, and we need to turn this up a bit. See what it's transmitting on, because this does not make any sense. Oh, it's transmitting itself on 27205, is it? You know, that's frustrating. So we'll have to set it, we'll reset the test set. See, I forget these daft things. Wallow, 1, 2, wallow. Now we'll start again. So slowly rising, and then it's gone back. So the maximum is there. Wallow, 1, 2, 0.511 is the maximum that we can achieve. One, two, wallow. Just make sure we're absolutely on tune. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Wallow, 1, 2, 1, 2, wallow. Tell you what, we'll have that as 0.510. And the maximum the radio will do is 1.95 kilohertz. It says in the manual. It isn't the 2.2 that we'd like. So that's done that. Now I've set up AM, and I'm not being told to do AM, but the trouble is I've now upset that, so I'm going to have to reset it. I didn't realise I'd gone up one. So our next one is AM mod. And for some reason these set differently between low and high. So let's see what it's transmitting on. 27205 still. We'll have to go into AM mode, and I need to check that this is somewhere. They want it to be 87%. Whoa. Wallow. And I'm now at 50%, so I will need to bring that up. So again, we'll put this on. Wallow, 1, 2, wallow. And then the next one, which I haven't upset, is AM high. Wallow, wallow. And that's absolutely as you'd expect it to be. So that's it. That's all the adjustments there are. So I'd upset AM low power, but I've reset that. But we're not looking at that. That's not what the customers asked for. So we'll go out of the menu, which I assume we turn the radio off and turn it back on again. So we're back on UK channels, channel 20. I'll now need to reset the deviation meter. Wallow, 1, 2, and in fact wallow is doing 2.1, possibly even 2.2 is the maximum. So we're actually better on the UK channels than we are on the CPT channels, which is what it makes you tune it on. So that's good. So now we've brought the deviation up from, I'm going to say, to 2.1 to 2.2. Now I'd like it to be 2.2 to 2.5, but the radio doesn't do that. But we know that. We know that doesn't do that. So we're keeping the power as it is. The deviation is what we've done. I upset AM. I've reset AM. Job's a good one. So I don't need to bother with the adapter tree anymore, because it's all being done through the vehicle adapter, and it's charging his battery, so he's getting some free electricity out of me. He actually emailed me yesterday and he said, are they ready? Because he was in this kind of area. He only lives about 25 miles away. Unfortunately, I wasn't starting them to today. And it's not like you can just jump on the test set. I've got to get the manual out. We've got to take off this bench, what's on this bench, you know. So it's not just... There's an hour and a quarter spent doing it. I know I edit these videos down to 20 minutes, but that's the editing. So we'll go on the... find the lead. So there are no internal adjustments on these radios whatsoever, because we explored that in the first video that I did, and then with the service manual to hand, we can see there isn't. So I've no doubt that's downloadable if you search. So here we go. We'll stay in monitor mode. One Niner Roger. You'll be lucky. So that looks like where we are. Actually, I'm on low power, so we'll do the 19 Roger again. 19 Roger. No, nobody there. So I'll put that on, aerial-wise. And we're going to move over to the second set of these, and we'll look at that one together as well. We'll turn that off, take the vehicle adapter off. Join you in a bit. So here we are with set number 2. I'll pop the aerial off. I found a piece of cardboard off a soup packet and put a hole in it and shoved it on the aerial. That was set number 1. I like being basic. 2. Set number 2. So we're on the vehicle adapter again. Nothing's changed on the power supply. We're running at 13.2 volts. We're on channel 20, so we'll start with transmit. And he must be on low, which he is. It's 2.4 watts. So I'll tell you, we'll probably bring that up to the same as the other. So low is, well, we started with high, didn't we? It's 2.4 watts, and at that it's drawing 527 milliamps. So this one draws more on less power, but this is tolerance between sets. 523 milliamps. On high power, the radio is doing 3 watts and drawing 1.01 amps. So I think what we need to do is to balance this to that. And then they're both the same range, aren't they? Because at the moment, number 1's going to have a slightly better transmit range. So at the moment, the deviation, wow, it's actually a bit more than the other one. It's 1.9, which is not far out where it needs to be. And on receive, is it just as good? That's the big question. So we need to go into monitor. And plug in the test equipment. We'll look at the cyanide meter. Nothing like as good. Oh, hang on a minute. Oh, no. 0.4. We can go down a bit more as it's hovering around the 12. 0.43. There's not much in that. Right, so I'll put it into program mode. This is engineering mode, which I can't tell you. So it starts off on medium power. It's supposed to be set to 3.8 watts. So 1, 2, 3. We'll put it to 3.4 like his other set. Now exactly the same. It's drawing 1.1. So it's now 3.4 watts and it's drawing 1.1 amp. And then in low power mode, set the, oh, I'm not showing you the power meter. Let's go back to the other power setting, then you can see where I've got it. Right, here we go. 3.4. So now on low power mode, we've changed scale, so we now move forwards on this. We've currently got 2.3 or something like that. We want 2.6. We'll just alter that. And the radio is now drawing 520 milliamps. Which is interesting because it was 525 before and doing less power. So, deviation, that needs to come up most definitely. We've got to reset the test set because we now know it transmits on 27205. Wallow. So let's see where we are with this. Wallow. So what you get on CPT isn't the same as what you get on UK. So let's set that to maximum. So let's hope it's as good as the other one, which has not worked out badly at all. So to do a second set is only going to take 15 minutes. You know, setting the first one up in the first place. So, I'm not here to adjust AM. I'm going to check it anyway, just for the sake of the video. Go to AM. Wallow. Just over 50% on there. And on high power, wallow. It's 90% on there. We're not adjusting any of that. And that should, oh, it tells us the version, does it? And then it goes back to high. So, turn it off, unplug that, turn it back on again, and let's see what we've now got. So on UK channels, on low power, on high power we've actually got 3.5 watts. On low power we've got 2.6 watts, exactly the same as the other. Deviation, I need to retune it. Wallow. And it's 2.1. 2.1 to 2.15. Wallow. And that is the highest the set will possibly go. So that's going to be, on the art set it's going to be a big improvement. It's not going to be so noticeable on this one, but now the range of the two should be about equal. So there we are. I think the job's a good one. What we'll now just do is we'll put this one on the air. And see if there's any good budgies out there. There's a bit of something, isn't there? Put it on higher power. 19 Roger. Now 12 noon. Good. So there we are, and that's where we'll leave it for the rest of the day. So I say you will need to look at what I did on the previous one if you're interested in how to get into the service manual. We've got a Harvard 420M in next, and then we've got, I can't remember, and then we've got another Harvard 420M, and then we've got a great GT858, I think it's a Summit GT858, and it's even come in its original box. So that's going to be fun. I like the great sets, very sensitive usually, as long as you're happy that the maximum you're ever going to see is 3.5 watts, and sometimes only 2.2, and 1.5 watts audio output, and no extension speaker socket. But I still like them, and they've proved to be reliable. And this gentleman lives relatively locally. I think he's about 7 miles away, so he did pop that in. And we've just got one. I've noticed it's come through to the communications department. Well, Mr. C opens the post, and he'll do that when he's here later. So there you are. That's the President Randy III, 2 sets adjusted. And we'll be doing a on-the-air test with both of those sets later on this evening at 7:30. Tomorrow, then we'll be back on the organ job. Thanks for watching. President Randy III Optimisation.